Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Sports Zone.
It's time for Braves baseball. Another beautiful day in downtown Atlanta as we finally and fondly say goodbye to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Atlanta and LA wraps up a big 4-game series this afternoon. All year long, Braves baseball is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price every day. Atlanta, with good rhythm last night, knocked off the Dodgers. A thrilling Major League ball game. They're on the board against LA and try to split the series here in Game 4 today. Hi again, friends, along with Tom Glavine and Joe Simpson. Chip Carey, welcome back to the ballpark. A good all-around win for the Braves. They beat the Dodgers, hung on in the ninth inning, and Tommy, a lot of good things to talk about yesterday.
Yeah, they played a great ball game yesterday. They did everything you wanted them to do. Look, they're a team that relies an awful lot on the home run ball, but when they don't get the home run ball, it's nice to know you can do some other things. And last night was one of those nights where the Braves did some other things. Key sacrifice bunt there early in the game, which is something the Braves typically don't do that early. A couple of key base hits, productive outs like Freddie talked about too, and good starting pitching and great relief pitching as well. So all-around team effort and a much-needed win for this team.
Great defense up the middle, too, from Phil Gosselin, who was inserted in there last night, made a couple of key plays, got that double play ball started, too, to end the ball game. And Freddie Gonzalez was quick to praise Phil for his good work. Of course, key play of the ball game came in the ninth inning when, on this slider, Matt Kemp grounds into that 4-6-3 double play to end the ball game. To say that the Braves were excited about it would be an understatement. So a big win for Atlanta last night, their first of the year against LA.
42 games are left on the regular season schedule. To a man, the Braves talked about playing with a sense of urgency the rest of the way. The deficit to the Nationals in the East stands at 5 games. We'll see if Atlanta can make a dent in that with a victory over the Dodgers today. Justin Upton and the Braves hope to split this series. Jay Up enjoying his home cooking. We wrap things up with the Dodgers, and Tom Hart will join us after a quick break here at Turner Field.
series between the Atlanta Braves and the Los Angeles Dodgers, brought to you by the Home Depot. It's been a great homestand thus far for the Braves. Justin Upton, once again, for the 4th time in his career, he's over the 20 home run mark. He's got 21 now, and a key RBI hit for him last night. One of the most important aspects of what Justin has been able to accomplish this season, and it's been evident each of his last 2 RBIs, is that he's getting it done with 2 outs. In fact, each of his last 2 have come with 2 out, and he's tied for 7th in Major League Baseball with 30 2-out RBI. Yeah, he also gets it done at home. 14 of his 21 home runs have been hit right here at Turner Field. Our Home Depot tools from the dugout show you his current homestand numbers: a .263 average, .440 on base percentage. Those 2 home runs with 6 driven in and 6 walks. It's a Braves offense which got it done last night playing small ball. Chris Johnson with a sacrifice bunt, Andrelton Simmons with an RBI ground out. That set the stage and it set the tone for an offense that kept the line moving. Keyed by Justin Upton's go-ahead RBI single later in the game. Maybe we'll have an outburst of offense today for Aaron Harang, one of the best acquisitions in the offseason. He goes for Atlanta against a newcomer for the Dodgers, Roberto Hernandez. Chip, Joe, and Tom will take a look at starting lineups, and they'll have first pitch right after this.
At the Home Depot, it's a business fan special. It's a glorious afternoon for ball here in Atlanta. Just a few puffy clouds overhead. Gentle breeze is blowing toward straightaway center field. And Aaron Harang gets the ball for the Braves against Roberto Hernandez, who just came over from the Phillies. Atlanta 5 games behind Washington. The Dodgers, with their loss and the Giants' win yesterday, have a 5-game lead out in the Western Division. And here's how Don Mattingly's ball club will line up. Their record 69-53 on the season. They're having a good road trip. They're 5-3 on it so far. And D. Gordon leads off their Toyota starting 9. Yasiel Puig is hitting second and center. Adrian Gonzalez is having a huge second half for Los Angeles. Matt Kempson right. Andre Ethier gets a rare start. Carl Crawford has been swinging a hot bat. Harang won't have to handle him today. Uribe, Miguel Rojas, Drew Butera, the catcher. And as I mentioned, Roberto Hernandez will pitch in that ninth from a Los Angeles team that is facing Aaron Harang, a former Dodger who's overdue to join the win column again, fellas.
Yeah, making his 25th start in the year, 9-6, coming off a real good outing his last time out, but his last 5 have been real good in general. But you see his record hasn't been able to take advantage of it. 0-0 with a 2.5 ERA, just has not gotten any run support. So hopefully his pitching will continue, but the bats will heat up for him today.
And his 4 keys to pitching success today, just as you would suggest, Tom Glavine, it is get me a W and not an ND. Tired of those no decisions. Now, it's better than a loss, certainly, but needs a W today. He's earned it. He's pitched great over that stretch where he's gotten all those no decisions. And day tripper, he's pitched real well during the day. He's actually, this will be his 12th start in a day game already this year out of his first 25. And he's 5-3 with a 3.38 ERA in day games.
So here's the look at the Braves defensive lineup. Different look in the outfield. Day off for B.J. Upton. Emilio Bonifacio is the center fielder today. And on the infield, standard alignment. Good to see Andrelton Simmons back and with no discomfort in the ankle. Made a couple of good plays last night. And a quick turnaround for him at shortstop. And day game after the night game, Gerald Laird will work behind the plate in tandem with Aaron Harang. So here we go. D. Gordon leads off for Los Angeles. He's 3 for 11 so far in the series. And up and away for ball 1. Lance Barksdale has the plate. 77 degrees in Atlanta on August 14th. We'll take it.
77 and no humidity in August. Pretty good.
Big key for the Dodger offense is this man. Gordon leads the league in triples and in stolen bases. And he checked to swing. There's a bunt. Johnson charged and tried to glove it. And Gordon has an infield hit. What a weapon. Whole world knows you're going to bunt and you can still get it down like that.
Wow, it's such a good play too, because it's not your traditional bunt, but you square around, you draw that third baseman in and kind of give it a little bit more of a push than your typical bunt. Get it by that third baseman if you can, and you got no shot.
With his speed, it doesn't have to be perfect.
No, and when you have you square around a little bit, you get that third baseman charging straight in, and then you get it a little to his left and make him have to move laterally. With his speed, like you say, no shot.
So Gordon, with his 52 steals, has a big lead at first. Yasiel Puig, the Dodgers center fielder, bats. And he takes a pitch low. Whatever the Braves have done the last couple of games against Puig, they hope to continue today. Puig has gone hitless in back-to-back games against Atlanta. He's 0 for 10 with 4. I think that 0 for 9 with 4 strikeouts. Gordon's running. The pitch, a strike. The throw is not. It tails and sails into center field. So Gordon steals second, moves to third on the throwing error. And Kerwin Danley was lucky not to have gotten hit with that throw from Gerald Laird.
Most umpires will track the throw and then follow it to the bag. Kerwin turned his back on this and almost got smoked right in the back of the head. Right there, he turned his back on it and almost got it. Meanwhile, bad throw leads to runner at third, nobody out.
And a ball to Yasiel Puig. Puig, the 6th leading hitter in the league at 306. He's knocked in 56 runs.
No worse way to have to start a game as a starting pitcher on a day game than to worry about a bunt and then have to try to manage the running game. You don't even get a chance to settle in.
And it's 1-0 Los Angeles. Puig with a clean hit to center. 57 RBIs for Yasiel Puig. And LA manufactures a first inning run. And Adrian Gonzalez is the hitter.
If D. Gordon continues to hit between 285 and 290 and do what he just did, the Dodgers are not only going to be tough to catch in the division, they're going to be tough to beat in the postseason. He is a great table setter for these good hitters that follow him.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys that the other day. I mean, you see a lot more games than I do, but they seem to me, of what I've seen, to be the most balanced offensive team, certainly in the National League. They can do a whole lot of different things.
Well, and they've got a real solid bench, primarily because of their outfield situation with guys that could be playing other places like Ethier or Van Slyke.
Adrian Gonzalez is the hitter for LA. And he scalds one toward left. And Upton in the bright sunshine is there, has it for out number one. And that's talking about the Dodger bench, Joe, from an offensive standpoint. Let's talk about them defensively. There aren't too many teams in Major League Baseball that have a Gold Glove winner who they can bring in for defensive purposes late in the game. And that's what LA has in Darwin Barney, a man they picked up after the Cubs designated him for assignment.
Yeah, you're right, Tom. Left-handed, right-handed, back and forth, and their lineup's pretty solid.
Matt Kemp hit the game-ending double play last night. That game with the bases loaded. A pitch just like that really handcuffed him on the deciding swing in the ninth. Kemp is rolling, though. He's got a 9-game hitting streak. He's hitting 11 of 12 as well for the Dodgers. Got to keep an eye on Puig as well. He's not afraid to run. He's got a big lead. Kemp was late. No balls, 2 strikes.
It was a great pitch choice last night by Kimbrel and Gaddis, and excellent execution on the 2-0 count to Kemp, throwing him a slider. And he was all geared up to open up and catch up to the fastball, and for some reason went ahead and swung at the slider and hit into a double play.
Fly ball well hit left. Upton's there, though. Kemp is retired. 2 outs. Puig back to first.
Chan just handed me a note about D. Gordon. That bunt hit gives him 14, and that's the most in baseball, to go along with his 42 infield hits, which are the most by a wide margin over Jose Altuve.
Ethier with a 247 mark. This outfield situation for the Dodgers, very crowded, very well chronicled. And a close play at first. Puig nearly picked off by Harang. He was picked off by Tehran the other night.
He gets in these little rocking motions, and if you catch him rocking towards second, you got a chance to get him.
Got him that time, and he was rocking. Aaron Harang picked off Puig with Ethier in the batter's box. LA scores a run. D. Gordon's bunt hit turns into a 1-0 LA lead after a half inning. This is Toyota starting lineup has Hayward, Bonifacio, and Freeman stacked up first, second, and third. Justin Upton's hit well here in Atlanta, as you know. Hopefully that'll continue against the former Philly and now current Dodgers, trying to help shore up the back end of this LA rotation.
6 and 8 on the year combined between LA and Philadelphia. See what he's done against the Braves in 4 starts, 2-1 with a 3.8 ERA. And his last start, his first as a Dodger, I should say, went 6, gave up 2 earned runs, got a no decision against Milwaukee.
Jason Hayward made his return to the leadoff spot last night, and he singled and scored a run. It was a tough assignment against Hyun-Jin Ryu, who's awfully tough against left-handed hitters. And Jason, as you know, has done very good work. 280 at bats, hitting first, a .250 average for Atlanta.
4 keys for Roberto Hernandez. He is a ground ball guy. He needs ground balls. Lefties beware, because he'll run that sinker away from them all day long. If you try to pull him, you're not going to do well. Only a .208 average against him from left-handers. Did not walk a batter in that 6-inning stint against Milwaukee, and here he's 3-0 already.
There's a strike, and Hayward now a 3-1 count. Braves have a 3-3 homestand working, and try to win their second this season in 7 games head-to-head with the Dodgers. The Braves have not really enjoyed their play against the Western Division this year. They have given the Braves fits. Atlanta comes into play 12-20 combined against Dodgers, Giants, Padres, Diamondbacks, and Rockies. We'll move to the AL West starting tomorrow night when Oakland comes to town. Payoff. Fly ball center. And Puig backpedals towards left field and makes the play for out number 1. Here's Bonifacio. Emilio at .277, a couple of homers, 18 RBIs. He's got 8 hits and 31 at bats as a Brave. That's a .258 average. Emilio, as you know, is a switch hitter, and against a right-handed pitcher, you don't mind the 3 lefties stacked up in order. Hayward, Bonifacio, and Freeman to start the game. Bonifacio hitting second today. The Braves have moved Tommy La Stella down to the 6th spot in the order. Simmons 7th, Laird 8th, and Harang, the pitcher, 9th.
Boy, he really telegraphed that changeup. Front side flew open, and then everything just kind of dragged behind it. Was a little better.
Hernandez has pitched in the big leagues a long time, but he began his big league career with the Cleveland Indians and pitched by the name of Fausto Carmona. I remember him last time the Indians were in the playoffs.
I love the names they come up with.
Right.
Shillelagh Delgado.
2-2 is back and out of play. Here are the numbers for the man that truly was named later, Roberto Hernandez. It was identity fraud, visa fraud, that cost him almost a full season in the big leagues. Pitched in Tampa Bay last year, and the Phillies, looking for pitching help, signed him and then traded him to the Dodgers for 2 players to be named later or cash. That has yet to be determined.
Well, he's a big guy. We got 2 big dudes out there pitching today, in Harang and Hernandez, who's listed at 6'4", 230. That was probably when he signed, and he's 33 years old.
Two balls, two strikes. And Bonifacio a good at bat here. The Dodgers' top three pitchers have done the bulk of their winning. We talked about that during the series. That may have taken a hit last night. Hyun-Jin Ryu had to leave the game after he strained a glute muscle delivering a pitch.
Well, they got good performances out of the Korea and Heron, so need those guys to continue to step up.
Bonifacio stays alive here. Two balls, two strikes. Full count. Freddie Freeman waits on deck. Good job by Emilio here. This will be the 10th pitch of the at bat. And it's bounced out to second. Gordon's got it. And the peck to first almost pulled Gonzalez off the bag, but Adrian hung with it. Two outs. Freddie's starting to swing it again, or I should say is continuing to swing it. That's a better way of putting it. He's on a nice run. He's got hits in 6 of his last 7 games, and he's got 12 hits in that stretch. He also stole a base last night. So Freddie Freeman feeling frisky.
Just had a note on the big screen that I wasn't aware of. 6th in the league in hits. That's despite the fact that he's darn near 0 for Miami this year.
Isn't that amazing? 1 ball, 1 strike. Daniel Murphy leads the league in hits. Pence, McGee, Span, Castro, then Freeman. And D. Gordon 1 hit behind Freddie. Now he's 2 hits behind as Freddie singles with 2 outs. And that'll bring up Justin Upton.
I don't know if it's as easy to pick up down there as it is up here when he throws his changeup. But he's got such a long arm action on it that it may be something that comes back to haunt him later.
Yeah, and as much as he's pulling that front side and slowing his arm down, it's going to be awful tough for him to get that pitch to finish down in the zone. Seems to want to be high or stay, maybe need a thigh high, which, like you said, if you can pick that up, that's a good pitch to hit.
Justin Upton's had a nice series. He's knocked in a couple of runs. He enters play today 4th in the league in homers, 5th in runs batted in. Short lead at first by Freeman. Justin's RBI work is our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard.
Number 70 last night. Adrian Gonzalez got number 80 Monday night.
And Upton chased a slider and fires the bat away, and the helmet in disgust as he is struck out. Dodgers hold their 1-0 lead. We head to inning number 2 in Atlanta. Club and Tom Glavine. Chip Carey with you here at Turner Field, where the Dodgers lead 1-0. Time for our Volkswagen pitching performance today. Pitching's been pretty good on this homestand.
It's been very good. Took 2 out of 3 from Washington. Mike Minor bounced back with a very good performance for him. Give him some confidence going into his next start against Pittsburgh. And last night, Irvin Santana, outstanding.
12 home games, 9 quality starts. Those guys are giving him a chance to win. Can't ask for more than that.
By the way, I just got a call from Shillelagh Delgado asking me not to disparage his name anymore.
Well, better be careful.
Apparently he lives in Stone Mountain. I didn't know that.
Well, how convenient. You can have your fan club meetings anytime then.
Right.
As Andre Ethier's the batter. He was in the box when Puig got picked off. And a bouncing ball just foul at first. As I was saying, when Ethier was up, the Dodger outfield situation remains crowded. It will be for the rest of this season, and it may be crowded going forward, barring a trade. They've got a kid in the minor leagues named Jock Peterson, who's supposedly the next big thing out of the Dodger farm system. He's on pace for a 30-30 here in the Pacific Coast League. As Ethier is down on strikes, and Harang takes care of the Dodger outfielder with his first strikeout of the game. Last time a minor leaguer had a 30-30 year in the Pacific Coast League was 1934.
No kidding.
Yeah. Frank Demery did it.
Well, typically, if you're having that kind of year, you're not going to stay there long enough to finish it. You're going to get called up. So I think that speaks to the crowded nature of what they've already got going on up here.
And he may have just a couple of weeks before they get him up here in September, but certainly a situation the Dodgers would like to resolve, as Uribe sends Bonifacio to the warning track on the first pitch. And a quick second out here in the top of the second inning. Maybe what the Dodgers have to look for is some more pitching. If not for the rest of this season, depending on what happens with Ryu, but going forward next year. Don't know if Beckett's going to be back. Don't know if Correa. Don't know if Roberto Hernandez will be back. They may have 3 spots to try to fill in their rotation next year.
Well, they're already spending a lot of money, so it'll be interesting to see how they address those needs.
Miguel Rojas has done a nice job at shortstop, filling in for Hanley Ramirez, who's on the disabled list. He's always been a glove first, hit second player, but that's not the case on the trip. He's been excellent defensively. He's got 6 hits on the road trip for the Dodgers, including 1 in this series and an RBI too. One ball, 2 strikes. And that's in the dirt. So from 2 quick strikes now to a full count. And he lost him. 2-out walk will bring up the catcher Drew Butera. 3rd Dodger base runner in the game.
Homer will get the crowd excited.
Butera shoots one toward left. Upton on the run. Still going back, and it's gone. That ball really jumped off the bat of Drew Butera. A 2-run homer extends the Dodger lead. It's 3-0.
Well, you don't want to walk guys leading off innings, and you don't seem to want to walk guys with 2 outs in an inning, and both of those things seem to come back to haunt you. Did right there after a couple quick outs. Walk, 2-out walk, and then an ambush.
Their catching core had a combined total between Ellis and Butera of 3 homers, 2 by Butera, and 1 more right here.
The last homer Butera hit was May 6th at Washington. That snaps a streak of 104 at bats between long balls. The Braves have a deep hole to dig themselves out of, down 3 in the 2nd inning.
Long ball's not a problem for Harang all year long. It's only the 11th he's allowed, but it hurts here today.
He's behind Roberto Hernandez, the Dodger pitcher, who's 3 for 38 at the plate this year. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Wasn't just the walk, Tommy. The fact that he was ahead of him 0-2 or 1-2 and then walked him.
Yeah.
To first, funny hop. Freeman will feed Harang. Hernandez very slowly trots down the line, but he will head back to the dugout with the confidence of a 3-0 lead on Drew Butera's 2-run homer here in the top of the 2nd inning.
LA, big moment last night for the Braves. May not have seemed like much, but for a team that's 10th in the National League in home runs and having trouble scoring when they don't hit home runs, a key moment when Chris Johnson, after an Evan Gattis double in the 2nd, decided to sacrifice his at-bat to move the runner over, who eventually came in. I asked him about it after the game.
Yeah, it's just a do whatever you can kind of approach, whatever it takes. That's where we're at. Whatever it takes to win ball games, whatever it takes to score runs, and we've got to do that. We can't sit on our ego or anything like that. If I got a bunt, I got a bunt.
Braves are only 21-41 this season when they don't homer, and they're 11th in the National League in sacrifice hits. But the key, I thought, for Chris Johnson wasn't that he did it. It's something he probably wouldn't have done as recently as a week and a half ago. In fact, he didn't do. And he said later after the game, that's just where we are right now, and it was a great thing to see.
I couldn't agree more, Tom. I said in our opening comments, 42 games left, whether you want to call it a sense of urgency or more importance. Obviously, all of those things are in play for the Braves club, who trails Washington by 5 games and still has 2 series head-to-head left with the first-place Nationals.
Yeah, no, I said the same thing last night. I said even a week ago he probably wouldn't have done that. But, I hope people don't get the wrong perception when you say you have to play with a sense of urgency. You always play with a sense of urgency to some extent, but I think when you get into crunch time here, you start to think a little bit differently and do things a little bit differently if you have to, and I think that's the stage that the Braves are at. It's you know, by any means necessary right now, and that maybe is not such a bad thing.
At least be cognizant of it. You know, Greg Walker has a good line about your hitting approach should kind of correspond to the scoreboard. What score? Are you behind? Are you ahead? How many outs? Where's the base runner? You know, that's what kind of dictates your approach when you go up there, or should. And I like that a lot, instead of just going up there and kind of freewheeling.
1 ball, 1 strike for Chris Johnson. This ball's popped up right side. Adrian Gonzalez over near the tarp, and he can't get there. Both he and Gordon belly flop on the tarp. And is Gonzalez all right?
Might have banged his knee on it.
I think he did.
He's had some trouble with his knees. When he needs a day off, it's usually just to rest his knees. Yeah, he banged it in there pretty good.
He did a little investigating with the hands to see where the padded part of the tarp was. He found the 1 or 2 spots that weren't.
So he missed it.
Hot shot and through for Chris Johnson. There's a good start for the Braves in the second. A leadoff single. Second Braves hit of the game.
Another changeup.
And Tommy La Stella is the hitter. There's a look at our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot. Tommy's work against the Dodgers is notable.
You know, it's pretty notable against everybody. Maybe not 350, but he has done such a good job. I mean, he's never even been up for a September cup of coffee or anything. He just showed up, started swinging.
No balls and a strike for La Stella, who has an even count. He's batted just about everywhere in the lineup. He's batted first 5 times. He's batted second 23 times. He's hit 5th twice. He's hit 6th twice. And he's batted in the 7th spot 30 times this year. And he's hitting 6th today, which is an RBI position. And why not? Tommy's a good 2-strike hitter. He's hit great with runners in scoring position. Hits lefties well.
And so far, laying off that borderline sinker from Hernandez that he wants lefties to swing at.
2 balls, 1 strike. Here's another area where Tommy has been very good this year. He's got a .288 average in a 2-strike count.
Well, that's the other side of it that I like too. I mean, I don't know that he's long term, you know, a 5th or 6th place hitter in your lineup, but every now and then not so bad, particularly with this lineup where you've got a lot of swing and miss guys in the middle. You know, he's another guy that gives the opposing pitcher a little bit different look, because he's not typically a guy that's going to strike out a lot.
That ball's put in play and bounced to Gordon. High flip. What a catch and what a throw by Rojas.
Yeah, if he was on that bag at second base, I will be very surprised, because it sure didn't look like he was.
Terry Pendleton at first base immediately threw out a safe sign and looked to the dugout, because he had a good angle at it from the first base coach's box, saying Rojas was off the bag. Couldn't tell.
Funny hop, high flip.
That was a heck of a play by D. That hit the lip there and skipped on him and threw off his timing on everything. And nice adjustment by Rojas, too.
So LaStella and the Braves are doubled up. Bases empty now for Andrelton Simmons. Andrelton put the ball in play last night. Got a couple of RBIs as a result. Had a 4th inning hit, a 2nd inning ground out. After missing 6 games, boy, it was great having him back in the middle of the Braves defensive lineup last night. A couple of good plays. So 3-0 Dodgers. Simmons, the number 7 hitter today. And that's a little low. Ball 2. Braves will have a chance to put the first score on the board today. The Nationals are in New York again. It's Steven Strasburg and Dylan G working. Washington leads the Braves by 5 games. And strike 2 to Simmons.
I saw a note on we were talking about the success the Nationals have had at Citi Field, and they've won 10 in a row there, and over that 10-game stretch they've outscored the Mets 70-20.
Swing and a miss. Simmons is retired, and a promising start to the second ends in disappointing fashion for the Braves hitters. 3-0 LA. Top of the order in the top of the 3rd coming up. Terra home run, the big blow in game 4 today. All year long, Braves baseball is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price every day. Time for our Zaxby's indescribably good play, and it happened last night.
Some really quick hands from Chris Johnson. That saved the day there. That ball gets through. A big inning for the Dodgers.
Yeah, we talked about it all night. Obviously, you'll point to the ground ball double play that ended the game, but that might have been the play that kept the game in hand. Or I should say in reach. That could have got real ugly real quick.
Yeah, it came after the Dodgers had 3 straight hits and had already taken a 1-0 lead. 2 more hits followed against Irvin Santana. And they settled for 2 in what could have been a very big inning. Braves got a run in the second after a Gaddis double, the Chris Johnson sacrifice bunt that we've talked about, and then Simmons ground out. All of a sudden you could see the Braves have a little more spring in their step. They went on to win 3-2. So Gordon leads off again for LA. Bunt single his first time, and he tried to bunt again, and this one's going to trickle foul. Strike 2. That's inside. D. Gordon was not an overnight sensation for the Dodgers. He broke in 2011 and did great work. Hit .304 in 56 games. 2012, he stumbled to a .228 average over 87 games and was sent back to AAA. Last year, .234 mark in 38 games. Back to AAA, where he hit .297 in 92 games. He has figured it out in 2014.
Well, they finally got through to him. He was hard-headed and had too big a swing. Thought he ought to hit homers like everybody else. And that's not going to happen. Hit the ball on the ground, use your speed, and you'll be here a long time.
And out of play again, full count.
I don't know why. I don't know why it would take somebody saying to a guy like this, hey, this is how you need to play the game. I don't know how you don't recognize that yourself as a player.
That's downstairs. Gordon draws a leadoff walk. And I would imagine if you're a highly touted prospect, coming to grips with what you are as a player and what your team needs you to be as a player are sometimes two very different things.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think in some cases, but, you know, in his case, like we talked about, was he 160 pounds soaking wet? So I mean, he can't think he's going to be a home run hitter up here, and he's obviously got to recognize he's got a gift of speed. So I would think that in that fashion, it wouldn't be too hard to figure out what you are.
Well, good news for the Dodgers as he's running, and Laird's throw is on target but late. Gordon has another stolen base. 54 now for the season. He's 2 for 2 in that department today. And Puig has a chance to drive him home with a 1-0 count.
He's on base after another walk where Harang was ahead in the count 1-2. Well, he's got a very explosive first 2 or 3 steps. And fortunate there that when that top foot went over the top of the bag, the tag wasn't on him.
What a wonderful weapon for the Dodgers. You can see how Puig and Gonzalez have their high RBI totals. Gordon's on base a lot. Bouncing ball fouled at third. Yasiel Puig now a 1-1 count.
Back to Gordon. Don Mattingly was talking about how he's got to rest him every so often because he said, I got to keep him. He said 170 pounds. I don't think the guy comes close to 170 pounds, but Mattingly said, I got to keep him over 170 just so that I know he's maintaining some strength.
Yeah, that's playing out there in that environment. Imagine if he was playing down here in the South.
Yeah.
Really get worn down.
It's the man that follows Gordon in the Dodger lineup, Yasiel Puig, truly was an overnight sensation in the big leagues. In June 2013, he set the record for the most hits in a calendar month for a Dodger rookie. He had 44 hits last June. Only one man has had more hits in his rookie month in the big leagues than Puig's 44. I'll tell you who, after Hayward makes this catch, Gordon's going to tag. He's going to head to third, and he'll make it standing up. The only man with more hits in his first month as a big leaguer than Puig's 44 was Joe DiMaggio. He had 48 hits in May of 1936.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
He was pretty good.
And he's followed it up with another huge 2014 season. So he advances Gordon. Productive out for Puig. Now Gonzalez will bat with the infield in, and the Dodgers already up 3.
People in the Dodger camp will tell you that the Dodgers have been playing some up and down baseball. I think you talked about it Monday night, Chip, that after they swept the Braves, they'd gone 5-5 their next 10 games. But all I can speak to is what I've seen, and these guys are doing everything right against the Braves.
That's hooked foul to the right side. Well, for me, it starts all with their starting pitching. Obviously, their starters lead the league in wins, ERA, and strikeouts. Long series, short series. If you've got to beat Kershaw, Greinke, and Ryu 4 times, good luck with that. And a base hit over Freddie Freeman's glove. Adrian Gonzalez has his 81st RBI, and the Dodgers extend their lead. It's 4-0. They cash in a leadoff walk.
Like Mattingly said, Gonzalez is an RBI machine. You get a runner at third, less than 2 outs, he always gets him in, and that's what big RBI guys do.
And credit Puig too. He didn't strike out. He put the ball in play, moved Gordon up. Had he struck out, infield might be back with a runner at second. Would be back with a runner at second. And the ball might have been caught.
Yeah, I was going to say, for an RBI guy who's good in those situations to begin with, you draw the infield in, he's really licking his chops.
Yeah.
So Gonzalez with a big road trip for the Dodgers. He adds to the lead, and now Matt Kemp hits. Kemp flied out to left, and the Dodger first. And that got a piece of Gerald Laird, or was it the recoil of the bat?
I was just going to ask you guys, what inning is Gerald going to get nailed in the mask?
Well,
with a foul tip to this time of bat.
I'm saying top of the third.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Backswing, yeah, follow through.
Gerald Laird, the league leader in that category this season, unfortunately. And Kemp with an 0-2 count. And a breaking ball takes care of Matt. And that's strikeout number 2 for Aaron Harang. For 4-0 LA. Now the Dodgers 2-time All-Star and Gold Glover digs in here in the top of the 3rd inning. Ethier is 32 now. Was acquired from Oakland after the 2005 season. That trade was for Milton Bradley.
Boy, that was a steal for the Dodgers.
Ethier has hit 10 or more homers in each of his first 8 years in the big leagues. He's got some work to do if he's going to extend it this season. A liner to right is caught by Jason Hayward. He makes a fine diving catch to retire the side. Jackie Robinson, the only other Dodger to do what Ethier has done with the long ball. Great grab by Jason Hayward. LA extends its lead. We head to the home 3rd. The bottom of the third inning. We hope you'll join us this weekend. The Oakland Athletics come to town. And this Saturday, August 16th, we'll celebrate the 100th anniversary of the 1914 World Series champion Braves, the Miracle Braves. The Braves will be turning back the clock. Players will wear throwback uniforms. The scoreboard will resemble the early 1900s. And we hope the game will remind fans of old-time baseball. Visit Braves.com/tickets today. Laird, Harang, and Hayward coming up.
Hey, my write-in campaign to be commissioner is picking up some steam.
Is it?
Uh-huh. They're supposed to vote today.
Yeah, they're voting in about 25 minutes, by the way.
Oh, really?
1:30.
Will we be able to see the smoke from here?
I'll be right back. No, I understand you only need 23 votes, and I've got 7.
You got how many?
7.
Wow.
Yeah. Gretchen, I counted on you guys.
Oh.
I counted you 2 in on that.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Wait.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're still waiting for the envelope.
Right? If they give me a vote, you're my guy.
Chan's been on the fence. I don't know if I'm going to get one from him or not.
Get him a pack of hot dogs. You'll be in business. Pop up by Laird out to second. Gordon's got it.
He said yes. That's 8. That's
Okay.
8. All right. I might have time. My understanding is that Rob Manfred is kind of the leader in the clubhouse as far as one of the candidates. Of course, he's got a little bit of the inside track since he's been working at the right hand of the commissioner for so many years, and he's got supposedly 20 votes in his pocket.
Harang pops one foul as he bats for the first time. Tom Werner of the Red Sox, one of the Red Sox owners, is
he's only got 1.
And Tim Brosnan, who's the vice president of business operations for MLB, is the other candidate.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, but I'm figuring that there's going to be like a little bit of a greedy thing going on where they'll split some votes, and I'll just kind of slide right in there with about, if I can get a couple more, get up to double figures.
Swing and a miss. Well, this game is being aired on the MLB network today, so I'm sure all of your friends and fans around Major League Baseball are watching this afternoon game. They could add to your vote total pretty quickly today.
That'd be pretty nice. I don't know who's heading up that search/vote committee. Maybe the commissioner himself. I wish I had his cell phone. I just text him all my people.
Well, they're all listening to us now. So
Yeah.
it should be good.
Yeah.
Jason Hayward hits, bases empty, and downstairs 1 ball, no strikes.
I understand Stan Kasten is there representing the Dodgers. He's a pal.
Yeah, I'll send him a text right now.
Okay.
You need his vote.
You got Stan's cell phone number?
Oh, yeah.
The real one or just the one he gave you?
Oh, no, the real McCoy.
That's
Yeah.
no, Joe.
Yeah.
That's really Shillelagh Delgado,
Yeah.
who answers by the name Stan Kasten. As Hayward awaits the 1-1 pitch. That's high. Well, whoever the new commissioner is going to have a wonderful opportunity and a whole host of very serious challenges to deal with in our sport as we move forward in 2015 and beyond. Line drive into center field by Hayward.
Nice swing. He let that ball travel a lot, or I should say deep into the zone, and took a nice inside out swing at it. 2-seamer running away from him, and he went right down on top of it.
So let's see if the Braves can do something here with 2 outs. Hayward at first for Bonifacio. Economically speaking, it seems that the game is in as good a shape as it's ever been. We have new stadiums virtually everywhere in the game. The Braves will be getting one in 2017 up in Cobb County. You have, as Joe put it earlier, either parity or what was the word you used?
Mediocrity.
Mediocrity.
Yeah.
That's either a benefit or an issue. Pace of game is obviously going to have to be on the new commissioner's plate. One ball, no strikes. But what a thankless job in many ways, too, guys. You have to obviously take care of the great game itself and then manage the 30 different agendas of just the owner's side of things, not to mention the umpires and labor and your relationships with the TV networks. I mean,
so you're telling me this is going to be a full-time job?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. I got to think about that.
You may not be able to do this broadcasting anymore.
Yeah.
You could legislate from the bench. Use the
I'll have to think about it.
bully pulpit, man.
If they offer it to me, am I going to have to like give them an answer right then?
No, if they offer it to you, then you're in a position of authority. You can push back a little bit and say,
Okay.
give me some time.
Let you know tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's outside. 3 balls and a strike. What would you have to wait on? Where are you going to park the private jet or something? Come on, man. It's the commissioner's
Well,
job.
it's kind of like Milwaukee, you know. Commissioner pretty much works out of Milwaukee, his hometown, and I'm thinking about access to St. Simon's, and that should be pretty easy.
Commissioner's offers at St. Simon's. I like it.
Got an airport.
They may not like it down there, but I don't know how the POA will feel about that, but
I can see it now. The Major League Baseball owners meetings at Nats Landing.
Yes. Yeah, I'm liking it.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Hayward's running, and Bonifacio pops it up left side. Uribe gives way to the shortstop Rojas, who called him off, and an effective inning for Roberto Hernandez. He keeps momentum in the Dodgers dugout. He enjoys a 4-0 lead. Used to seeing number 22 in that number 1 spot.
Well, in the beginning of this year, we were leading them off, and so we're gonna try it and try it for a while, and maybe add some spark, maybe add some energy up there, and get them going, get us going a little bit.
Last year, Jason hit .322 in the leadoff spot. He was a catalyst in August. He hit .348 with 4 home runs and 10 driven in late in the season.
Juan Uribe swings at the first pitch. He doesn't waste any time, does he? And Upton handles that in left for out number 1.
Yeah, you're right, Tom. He was a big part of why the Braves won the division and got into that matchup with the Dodgers Just the fact that Jason was in the leadoff spot, and because he's going good right now, why not put him back up there and see if it gets the team fired up and get him going.
Rojas walked back in the second inning. Frustrating walk for Harang. He got the first 2 outs easily, was ahead of the Dodger shortstop, 2 strikes. And the base on balls, then Butera followed with a homer to extend the lead to 3. It's now a 4-0 Dodger game. Good pitch, 0-2. So here we go again. Let's see if Aaron can finish him off. To short. High hop for Simmons. And he makes the peg to first. And Harang gets his second out of the inning. Now Butera bats.
This is only the second time in his last 8 starts that Aaron has given up as many as 4 runs in a start. 4 earned runs, and the other one was against the Dodgers in LA.
Idea to go down and away to Butera with the first pitch after his second inning homer. It's his 3rd homer of the year. This one's popped up. Laird will give chase back by the screen, but he won't have a play. And the pride of the University of Central Florida, Drew Butera, digs back in with a 1-1 count.
His dad Sal, a major league catcher in the day, now a scout, I believe, for the Blue Jays. See him a couple of times this summer.
In the air to center. Bonifacio on the run is going to get there. That ball hung up for a while, and Emilio tracked her down. A 10-pitch frame for Aaron Harang. Braves bats need to go to work. Freeman, Upton, and Johnson, your Delta Airlines trio, coming up next. Berto Hernandez, he leads 4-0. Catch all the second half action on MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit Braves.com for details. Beautiful day in Atlanta. It's always nice when you get the trivia question the night before correctly. Let's see if we can do it again today. It's brought to you by AT&T Uvers. Who was the last Dodger right-handed pitcher to record a 200 or better strikeout season?
Kevin Brown.
Good call.
Real good guess. So we'll ponder that one for a while. As the middle of the Braves attack is coming up here in the fourth. Freeman, Upton, and Chris Johnson. That trio's accounted for 2 of the Braves' 3 hits. Even count. 1 ball, 1 strike. Freddie Freeman with 38 multi-hit games for the Braves this year. His latest came last night. He's 10 for 22 on this homestand. That is much more Freddie Freeman-like. He's pumped his average back up over 290 now. It's at 292.
Well, I like the makings of this with Hayward going back to the top of the order to try to get things going at the top. I'm liking Bonifacio in the 2-hole today, or LaStella, either one. And with Freddie swinging it like he is, and Justin Upton swinging it like he is, that's really your 4 hottest hitters right now. And get Chris Johnson going again down there in the bottom of the order with Gaddis, things could pick up quickly.
And as we've said a couple of times, the only challenge would be against a left-handed pitcher. If Bonifacio's not in the lineup, Hayward has had trouble hitting lefties, but LaStella hits him really well, and Freeman hits him well. So maybe that concern shouldn't be as big a concern as it would appear to be on paper. Fly ball foul by Freddie. He's still alive. Full count pitch. That's a sign that Freddie's seeing the ball well now. Those were pitches that he was swinging and missing on the last road trip. He's not doing that now.
Yeah, he was missing a lot of breaking balls, swinging over the top of them.
And he coaxes a leadoff walk. So Hernandez beginning his second time through the Braves batting order as his second leadoff man reached today. And that'll bring up Justin Upton, who wasn't happy with a first inning strikeout.
Well, 2 out walks, leadoff walks. See if the Braves can cash in on their leadoff walk.
Justin's been a very comfortable hitter in his home park this season. A .314 average, 14 homers, 42 knocked in, 17 doubles. All of those power numbers best on the team at home. fly foul back behind the plate. No play for Butera. And the .314 batting average, also best on the team at home. Too far outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He hasn't thrown too many sliders to lefties. It's mostly the sinker and the changeup, and the right-handers come up and he starts working in the slider, as he did to Justin to get him to chase his first time up. In that first start for the Dodgers at Milwaukee, he really pitched well. He gave up 2 runs in 6 innings, but both of those runs came in the first inning, and he admitted that he was a little nervous in his first start for LA. But he shut him down after that, and he left trailing 2-1, and they went on to lose 9-3.
So now it's Hernandez's turn to jump ahead with 2 strikes and then start to nibble. Full count.
He certainly wanted that pitch, Chip, from Lance Barksdale on our PNC Bank pitch tracks. Darn close. A little off.
Justin laid off a couple of pitchers' pitches this at bat.
Down 4. Nobody out. I wouldn't look for Freddie Freeman to be running.
He's running, and it's ball 4. How about that?
Surprised me. Worked out just fine.
So back-to-back walks, and that'll bring up Chris Johnson. Chris singled to start the second and was erased on a Tommy La Stella double play. A beautiful double play turned by the Dodgers. Chris Johnson, 3 hits in the series. And a chance to wake up a crowd that's been a little quiet. The Dodgers ahead 4-0. The Braves have 3 hits. He is just missing the inside and outside corners.
Sure fidgety this inning.
Yeah, it is. Just stepping off, taking a lot of time between pitches.
Fly ball center and playable for Puig. Johnson's retired. 2 on, 1 out now for Tommy La Stella. We don't yet know who the Rookie of the Year will be in the National League. But I'm guessing Tommy La Stella will get a few votes with the campaign he's had. He enters today's play 2nd in the National League in rookie batting average, 6th in rookie RBIs, 3rd in multi-hit games, 3rd in hits, number 1 in on-base percentage. That one gets away from Butera, and the runners will move up. And now a good contact man with a hit could cut the Dodger lead in half. All help accepted.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to score these runs here with all the help that Hernandez is giving you this inning. You got to cash in.
At least one, because the infield's going to play back. You know, it's kind of like last night when the Braves fell behind 2-0. They got one back on that ground out by Simmons. Do the same thing here. Get at least one, then maybe somebody will come up behind you and get like Simmons, and get a 2-out hit and get the other. It's almost like he's having trouble gripping the baseball. He's been going to the dirt. He's been going to the rosin. His jersey is soaking wet. It's not that hot. He's shaking sweat out of the bill of his cap.
A 77-degree day in Atlanta at first pitch. And off the plate. Braves are really waiting him out.
Tommy's done a good job around at third, less than 2 outs. He's 5 for 11 with 11 RBIs. Probably taking here.
Oh. That time he got a corner called. 3 balls and a strike.
Again, PNC Bank pitch tracks. Got a bonus.
And now a full count. Freeman at third. Upton at second. Back-to-back walks and then a wild pitch after a Chris Johnson flyout. Now a payoff for the Braves second baseman. And it's served out of play. Game number 68 for Tommy La Stella today. He has 68 hits. Roller right side. That'll get a run home. Gonzalez to the bag. That'll score Freddie Freeman. La Stella was looking for more, but he'll settle for an RBI ground out. Upton to third. It's now a 4-1 LA lead. RBI number 27 for La Stella.
Yeah, you do hope for more, but it's that Greg Walker theory. Get me one, get one for me, and then somebody else get another. I've already seen him throw one wild pitch this inning. Another one might get another run in. You never know what might happen with a runner at third, 2 out.
Andrelton hitting .242 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs this year. And a liner to third. He hit that ball right on the button, but Uribe had him played perfectly. Atlanta gets back-to-back walks to start the 4th. They are on the board on a La Stella ground out. We head to the 5th inning. Hernandez gets things started for the Dodgers. He leads by 3. Well, the Braves scratch across one, and we head to the 5th inning. Now a 4-1 game. Orang has his mound opponent, Roberto Hernandez, starting things off. And he's quickly ahead on a foul ball to the right side. There's a good hook. And nothing in 2. Braves have Oakland in town tomorrow night. Just missed. 7:35 start tomorrow night, 7:10 on Saturday. Sunday's an ESPN game. If you have a pocket schedule, it says a 1:35 start. That's not the case. ESPN's picked up that game for their national broadcast. It'll start at 8:05, 8:07, 8:08, whenever they're ready. Whenever Buster Olney is done with his pregame report. It'll be a good one. And there's out number 1 as the pitcher is retired. Here's D. Gordon. Tom, this kid has electrified Dodger fans out west.
Yeah, he's really turned it on, Chip, and we've been talking over the course of this homestand about how young players these days don't always listen to Hall of Famers. Mike Schmidt had that editorial in the Philly paper and discussed George Brett's limited role as a hitting coach with the Royals. Well, as a Hall of Famer that really helped D. Gordon turn his career around. He's been working with Barry Larkin for years down in Windermere, Florida. First started out just working on his defensive skills when he was still a shortstop. It had a big change this year.
Looper over short and into left field on an 0-2 pitch.
Gordon came into the offseason to work with Larkin once again, and he was frustrated that the Dodgers were wanting to make him a super utility player. He had gotten some reps in the outfield. He was going to play a little bit of short and maybe some second. And from what I'm told, basically Barry Larkin sat him down and said, listen, we can work all you want on what to do at the plate or in the field, but until you get your mind right and accept the fact that you're going to have to change some things, they have no reason or obligation to play you. And the result is his ground ball percentage is up. His fly ball percentage is down. His infield fly ball percentage is down 15%. He's got 10 triples. And, of course, the stolen bases.
And all the infield hits, too, utilizing his bunts and his speed. That's good to hear. I mean, it's so refreshing to hear somebody that's already at this level feel like they can get better by listening to somebody who's been there and done that.
And he's a threat to run, as you know, with a big lead at first and 1 out. Puig, the hitter. And it looks like someone's gotten to Yasiel Puig as well. Vin Scully, the Hall of Fame voice of the Dodgers, described him as the wild horse last year. The reckless abandon with which he played. I don't see that quite as much in our head-to-head looks with the Dodgers this year. Playing much more in control and still very, very talented guy.
Yeah, he's been picked off twice in this series, which is an indication he's still learning a few things, but nowhere near the craziness that we saw last year.
1 ball, no strikes. Pop fly foul out of play. I've talked to Eddie Perez about what I've called a cultural dissonance in Major League Baseball. Think about this. Let's say as an American player you went down to the Dominican Republic and were cast into that culture, didn't know much about it, and were exposed to the game the way that it's played down there. I'm sure it would be a tremendous cultural shock for you. If you've watched the Caribbean World Series, if you watched the Braves games when they played at Hiram Bithorn Stadium, when the Expos or Marlins play down there, the way the fans react, the way the players play the game is completely and totally different than what we are used to seeing at the major league level here. So imagine Yasiel Puig coming almost directly to the major leagues without any exposure at all to Major League Baseball or the so-called way the game's supposed to be played.
No, it's tough, and especially if you're having success on top of it and all the attention you're getting, you think, oh, hey, this is the way to do it.
Toward third, fair ball. Chris Johnson, long throw, no chance to get Puig. That's an infield hit for the Dodgers. Chris's fine play at third saved a double, though, and the LA runners are at first and second with 1 out.
right over the bag. Did save an extra base hit and probably a run with Gordon's speed. Another side of that too, Chip, I think, is what's acceptable. That style of play is acceptable in Cuba, what he was demonstrating here, and that style of play here in many ways will get a teammate hurt. Might get you hurt.
Adrian Gonzalez with 2 on, 1 out. So think about that next time you see a player playing with that kind of flash or that kind of excitement, whatever term you want to use. It's a whole different ball game here. You're having to learn a lot of things, not just how to play at this level, but how to live up in the States. How to handle fame, how to handle the money.
Well, we were talking about Eddie yesterday becoming a U.S. citizen, and we're all proud of him for that, he and his family. But Eddie has told me the stories about coming here and not speaking a word of English, going to the grocery store and not knowing what he was buying, trying to find food, being hungry. You know, he was kind of living on fast food because he knew what that was, but going to the grocery store, he didn't know dog food from canned peas, so it's kind of hard, very hard.
2 balls, no strikes. And out of play. Joe, you played Venezuela, was it?
I played in Mexico and Venezuela.
And that had to be incredible culture shock for you.
You know, I guess in some ways it was, but I'm certainly not fluent in Spanish, but I could get by with the language, and that helped immensely.
Lined over second. That's going to get down for a hit, and Gordon's going to streak around third and score without a play. The RBI machine for the Dodgers is at it again. A 2 RBI game for Adrian Gonzalez, and LA gets that Braves run right back. Unfortunately, it's now a 5-1 game.
Looked like a decent pitch, Tom.
Yeah, went down and got it. Yep. Breaking ball, tried to backdoor it. Don't know if it would have been a called strike had he not swung at it, but that's just a good piece of hitting. It's like we talk about, sometimes you give up hits on good pitches, and that was one of them.
And the difference between a base hit and an RBI and what could have been a ground ball, slow ground ball to second for a double play was minuscule.
Action begins in the Braves pen. Matt Kemp, the hitter, and he takes low and outside. That's David Hale.
That's one of the things about Adrian Gonzalez, though, that has made him such a high RBI guy, is that he'll cut down on his swing. He'll put the ball in play. He's not trying to hit the ball to Buckhead just because there's a guy on second base.
And there's a novel idea, huh? Cutting down on your swing.
How about
especially with 2 strikes.
They're just regular outs, guys.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, I get that argument, but you know, also the flip side is, well, those are balls that you're not putting in play, that are not putting any pressure on your defense, and who knows, maybe they'll make an error, maybe they won't make a play. They don't have to if you don't put it in play.
Maybe it'll find a hole.
1-1 pitch for Kemp.
And again, you know, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but you know, if you want to accept a guy like Ryan Howard striking out 200 times a year when he's driving in 130 and hitting 35 bombs, yeah, okay. Trouble is, you got a lot of other guys in the lineup that are doing the same thing, and they're not putting up those kinds of numbers. And I'm not just saying here. I mean, it's across baseball.
2 balls, 1 strike. We're talking about the challenges that the new commissioner is going to face, whoever that will be. And we've talked about pace of game. Interesting conversation in the press room beforehand. I have said for a year and a half, 2 years, if umpires hunted for more strikes, that would obviously help the pace of game. The question is, from your guys' perspective, will that help or hurt scoring in the game? And I'll explain why that was a question as Kemp walks to load the bases. Obviously, if you call more strikes, the possibility of more strikeouts or more outs comes up. The opposing theory was, well, if you call more strikes, you might get the hitters to swing the bat more frequently, which might lead to more balls in play, more contact, more offense, more runs. So interesting theory, and we'll talk about that as the day is done for Aaron Harang. He'll leave with the bases loaded, trailing 5-1 in the finale with Los Angeles.
Ford, Delta Airlines, and Synovus, the bank of here.
It's 5-1 Los Angeles as LA continues to bat here with one out in the 5th inning. Well, an old friend of ours used to love this particular promo. We hope you'll be a part of the 2nd annual Umpire Night at Turner Field this Saturday, August 16th. Catch the umpiring clinic hosted by MLB umpires and get tickets to the Braves game that night. Tickets start at just $20, but space for the Braves umpire camp is limited. So head to braves.com/umpire or call 404-614-1410 today.
Well, I guess it's about time there was an umpire night. There was the bobblehead, the Sid Slide bobblehead, where Randy Marsh was featured in that. So, hey, why not a night? Just can you come dressed as an umpire?
Why not? Think. As David Hale, in his 34th game, will square off with Andre Ethier. Tough spot for David. Bases loaded, and the Braves already down 4 runs.
Shortest outing of the year for Aaron Harang, both in innings pitched and in pitches. D. Gordon on base 3 times, scored 3 times.
Said at the start of the show, stop Gordon if you want to beat LA. And it couldn't today. What a play, Freeman. From a knee, he fires to second, and the return throw to first. What a play.
Unbelievable.
I can't think of a tandem in Major League Baseball that turns that 3-6-3 double play better than Freeman and Simmons. And Don Mattingly's going to come out, and he's making his way to first, and Gary Cederstrom to see if the return throw beats Andre Ethier. The call at first was out. The inning for the moment is over, with LA enjoying a 5-1 lead. So the conversation a brief one, and the call apparently will stand. A beautiful play gets Hale, Harang, and the Braves out of bigger 5th inning problems.
Remember that celebrity fantasy league that's going on, and asked Chris Johnson what it would be like for fans to get to play with celebrities. You'll like his answer.
Be cool. I consider myself a regular guy too, so that just happens to play baseball. So I think it'll be kind of the same as any other league that I'm in. You know, we'll go back and forth with some other teams in the league, and when you're playing people, you maybe throw a jab in there every now and again. So I think it'll be a lot of fun, and if hopefully fans will enjoy kind of interacting with us.
That draft is tomorrow, guys. BigLeagueImpact.org. It's the subject of today's Synovus Greatness Made Here. I talked to Chris about his first-round pick. He's got the 3rd selection overall. He is planning on grabbing LaShawn McCoy. He's already got the first round mapped out. He said, I know Jamal Charles is going to go first, and Peyton Manning. McCoy should be there for me to grab. Adam Wainwright spearheaded this to help raise funds in 10 different major league cities. Clayton Kershaw and A.J. Ellis are partaking on the Dodgers side. Freddie Freeman and gang on the Braves side.
Should be a lot of fun, especially the way these guys can smack talk. You like to take it as well as give it out. You can do it to some big leaguers.
Yeah, if you don't want to take it, then don't be in that room.
Jared Laird starts things off for the Braves and takes outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Got to get something going here. Laird, then Hale, then Hayward. 5-1 Dodger game. Rolled toward Uribe. Big hop. Long throw gets the Braves catcher. There's out number 1.
Well, if Hernandez was a little stressed last inning, giving up the run after making the first out of the top of the 5th, he got a long rest in the dugout, so he should be okay now.
I can't tell with the gray uniform top in the shadows. I don't know if he has a new shirt on or not.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He was really working up a lather last inning. Had that great shot of him taking his hat off and shaking the perspiration out. So Hale's hitting here. Braves hoping to buy three innings or more out of him. Try to help out Aaron Harang, who had a rough time of it today, especially with D. Gordon, who scored 3 of the 5 Dodger runs.
Well, it's a shame for Aaron because he's had these 5 starts of no decisions where he could have easily won all 5, if at least 4 of them. So for a day to come along like this after 5 really good starts, that's too bad. But I mean, it's bound to happen, but he's been unlucky.
Oh, and that's the part that's frustrating for you as a pitcher. You know, you start stringing them together like that, eventually you're going to have a bad one. When you're not winning the good ones, and sure enough you have the bad one, you lose it. It gets frustrating because I don't care how many hey attaboy nice jobs you get. You're going out there to win ball games, and when you're pitching well and not getting wins, it's tough to keep yourself kind of going on that. Okay, well, I'm giving my team a chance to win. You'd like to have a little bit of reward for that every now and then.
Right.
Last win for Harang, July 10th. Ground ball left side. And flipped first is in time by Rojas. And there's the second out. We've said it before, today's game notwithstanding, toss it out for Aaron. You know where the Braves would be had he not been picked up and had he not pitched as well as he's pitched for the Braves this year.
Yeah, they'd be in a whole lot of trouble.
The leadoff man was the big problem in his start today. 2 outs for Hayward. Jason 1 for 2. And that's a ball low. They're underway in Detroit. Pirates and Tigers, no score. That game's in the 3rd inning. We'll see the Pirates on our next road trip. Another tough test for the Braves ahead on the road after Oakland leaves town. A trip to Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and New York.
We got a good one in Kansas City today. Oakland with Samardzija against Kansas City with James Shields.
No blood in that divisional race yesterday. Both the Tigers and Royals won. Kansas City with a half-game lead over Detroit. They've been in first place this late for the first time in 11 years. You know the Royals fans are loving that. Oakland's lead in the AL West is 2.5 games. Baltimore has the biggest lead of any divisional leader. They've opened up a 7.5 game lead over Toronto in the AL East.
Man, man.
And remember, they're without Wieters and they're without Manny Machado.
Yeah, they just put Machado on the DL. Let's hope it's not for too long. Good player.
And a good at bat for Jason. He coaxes a 2-out walk. And Bonifacio is the Braves batter. He's 0 for 2. Third walk for Hernandez. Hayward's running. The pitch, a ball. Butera's throw is a strike, but late. 14 steals for Jason Hayward. Braves are trying to force the issue on the base paths to try to get something rolling offensively.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Freddie Freeman running last inning when he was taken off on a 3-2 count to Justin Upton. But it's obvious that Freddie Gonzalez is not just going to sit back and wait. He's going to try to even one run at a time, get a guy into scoring position and hope for a base hit. Good jump by Jason, by the way.
A roller foul and out of play. In the air to left, and Ethier in a couple of steps is there to make the catch. That'll retire the side. No runs, no hits, a man left. We're through 5 in Atlanta.
And fans, now it's time for you to tweet your photo using #SouthFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming broadcast. That's brought to you by AT&T.
So it's a 5-1 Dodger game. We head to the 6th inning. Could be a very historic day around Major League Baseball. The vote for a new commissioner is supposedly either taking place now or is set to take place shortly. Tom, any idea of who's going to come out on top?
Well, we know it's now down to 2. According to the Associated Press, MLB Executive Vice President Tim Brosnan withdrew his name from consideration before the start of voting. That leads COO of Major League Baseball Rob Manfred and Boston Red Sox Chairman Tom Werner as the remaining candidates.
Broken bat. Uribe sawed off. David Hale had to dodge the barrel of the bat and the baseball too, and he picked the right thing to grab. 1 out.
Joe, your chances just increased.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this, and I hope that, you know, my write-in candidacy didn't influence his decision to pull out.
Well, we've always called you the commissioner of our broadcast, so you can take solace in that. But let's pretend for a moment that you are the commissioner of baseball. Ready?
Yeah.
Fans want to know, what do you do with Pete Rose?
See, I'm already showing you that I don't have knee-jerk reactions.
That's true.
I will give it consideration, but I'm not inclined to let him back in yet.
Here's Miguel Rojas, the Dodgers shortstop, and he singles up the middle. Rojas has his second hit of the series, and he's aboard with 1 out. That's 8 Dodger hits. But you can see how many minefields that job has. No matter what you do, you're going to make somebody happy and somebody unhappy. It's a very lucrative, in some ways very powerful, very meaningful job, but boy, in many ways thankless too.
Well, I go back a little history there on Bart Giamatti and Fay Vincent and what they went through dealing with that and how they handled it. With all due respect to Bud Selig and Fay Vincent and all other commissioners that I have been around as a player, as a broadcaster, I thought Bart Giamatti was going to be so good and so perfect, and we lost him way too soon. Missed him getting a chance to really kind of put his imprint on the game because he was such a historian and loved the game so much.
Drew Butera is the hitter, and he takes a ball low. And I mentioned the Pete Rose thing just as a tongue-in-cheek aside, but there really are big issues in the game. Stadium issues in Oakland, Tampa Bay. Where are those guys going to play? Are they going to get new ballparks? Are the A's going to get their Coliseum situation straightened out? We'll know more about that when their folks come to town tomorrow night, making what has been a 19th century game relevant or more accessible and appealing to a 21st century audience, I think is a critical factor in determining who the next titular head of baseball is going to be. Runner goes, and a flip job by Butera into right field. The Braves did a great job to deke Rojas. He stopped at second base as Tommy La Stella had him throwing the brakes on, and there he stands with 1 out.
Drew Butera's having a great game. Home run, now perfect hit and run. And La Stella did his job at second base to deke him. He did a tremendous job to make him stop at second.
And Lorenzo Bundy at third base is kind of yelling at Rojas, saying, "Look at me, pick me up. I'll tell you what to do," because he had no idea where the ball was.
So Roberto Hernandez with 2 on and 1 out. He shows bunt, and he deadens it on the grass. It's Chris Johnson scrambling in from third to make the play, and A successful sacrifice has Rojas at third now. Butera at second for the man that's been the royal pain today, D. Gordon.
You mentioned some of those issues in baseball, Chip, like Tampa Bay and Oakland, some others. I'm not pointing to those teams, but I talk to so many baseball people. They are not businessmen, they are baseball people. Lifelong baseball people whose opinions I trust a lot, and when they're telling me across the board that there's just not enough players to go around, like you said, parity or mediocrity, there might be too many teams, and heaven forbid a commissioner suggests that we're going to contract after so much expansion, and with the lucrative position of being a baseball owner thanks to TV revenues in particular.
Swing and a miss. I think that goes directly to my point about relevance. The game's always relevant, but how accessible is it? How appealing is it to the younger demographic? And by young, we're not just talking the 18 to 35-year-old demographic, 6, 7, and 8-year-olds who are choosing to play other games. As this one's hit to short, and Simmons with a long throw got a fast man. When one of the best young players in the game says, I don't watch baseball because it's too slow and boring, and that player being Anthony Rendon, that I think should be a clarion wake-up call for our sport, that something has to change with regards to the way the game is being presented. We'll continue that train of thought as we move on to the home sixth. Man up, Freeman, Upton, and Chris Johnson. 5-1. Los Angeles has the lead. As always, Delta Airlines is a proud sponsor of your Atlanta Braves, and a very special Braves fans watching the game today, Mac Honey. It's his birthday today.
Is it really?
Mac. Wow. You guys should bring a cake for him on Sunday.
Smoke up airplane.
You don't have to have candles.
Yeah, good point.
You know what I think he'd like, Tom? First the pitch.
What?
We get one of those real big cakes and you pop out of it. You can come with us to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, make a
after the game Sunday.
Surprise appearance for Mac to Pittsburgh. All right, I'll talk to Chris about that. See how she feel about that.
I think we know the answer. Strike one to Freeman. So what do you think, fellas? I'm not.
Wait a minute. With regard to Mac, I don't know how old he is, but it's an obvious statement that Delta has no mandatory retirement age.
Wow.
Fly ball to center. That ball's deep. Puig back. He's out the fence, and what a grab.
Both outfielders come over to give him 5. This guy, as he's learning how to play, he's endeared himself to his teammates and his fans certainly, because they just expect greatness out of him.
Well, with all the craziness that comes with him, that comes with him too, and that was a pretty special play.
One out. I am not one who complains about time of game. I want to go on record as saying that. We live in life's sandbox. But am I crazy for saying that that's an issue that baseball's got to think about, change, do something to improve?
I think that the discussion needs to be more about pace of game than time of game.
Okay.
You know, for me.
That's a very thin distinction, but I know where you're going. Yeah.
I'm with you. You know, when I was a kid, I wanted the game to go to extra innings every time I ever went to Fenway Park as a kid. You know, you're mad when it was over in 9 innings in 2 hours and 30 minutes. I get that time is a constraint. I understand that. It's particularly tough during the school year when you don't want, you know, it's hard for parents to justify bringing their kids down here and getting home at 10:30, and I get all that. But I think people take that argument too literally sometimes. They go, why do you guys care how long? The only one that's complaining about the game is the broadcasters, and we're not. That's not. I agree with you. That's not what it is. But I think there are things you can do throughout the course of the game to pick up the pace, to have it. You know, the word I always like to use is it's just a more crisply played ball game. Get in the box, get on the mound, attacking the strike zone. Strikes are being called. You're playing the game, and if it takes 3 hours, it doesn't seem like it takes 3 hours. You know, there are plenty of 2.5-hour games that feel like they take 4 hours.
And a delay like this, you can understand, as Upton fouled the ball off his body, and athletic trainer Jeff Porter is going to head out to check on the Braves outfielder. But I go back to what I've said before. 30, 40 years ago, we didn't have smartphones. We didn't have social media. We didn't have ESPN or Fox Sports 1 the way that we enjoy the highlights now. And our society has become one of a much shorter attention span. Everything's instantaneous, instant gratification, if you will. So how does baseball, a pastoral game without a clock, appeal to a changing societal demographic?
I mean, it's a tough call, you know, because I think you inevitably, like you say, you're trying to appease that instant satisfaction mentality that we all have nowadays, or try to mimic football. Well, you can't. You know, you can't mimic a 16-game schedule, or, you know, I mean, you just can't. You can't do that. Now, again, I think there are things you can do to pick up the pace, you know, to make it quicker that way, and things of that nature. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, are you going to take any fans from, you know, I keep saying football. Are you going to pull any fans over from football to start watching baseball because the games are quicker? I mean, I don't know that you are.
I don't think so.
You know, I think they are. Your fans are what they are, and, you know, I don't know how much. I don't know how many more fans you're going to pull in because the games are shorter.
I think you're right. I think the question might be better asked: how many more fans are you pushing away because they can't afford to spend that much time, or invest that much time, maybe a better way of putting it, into something that 40 years ago took 2.5 hours to accomplish, and now it's taking 3, sometimes 3.5.
I don't think people come to the game with the anticipation that, well, I hope it only goes 2.5 hours because I got to get out of here.
No, I'm talking about people who are watching the games and aren't here, attracting viewers. And Tom, I know there are things in place that could be done, but quite obviously they aren't being done too often, are they?
Yeah, in every major league clubhouse, there's a pace of game procedures sign in every major league clubhouse on the wall that identifies 2 rules that just, quite frankly, aren't impacted. They aren't enforced. Rule 8.04 requires the pitcher, when the bases are empty, to throw a pitch within 12 seconds. Rule 6.02 is one I think you'll appreciate, Joe. Umpires will not grant time for batters to step out of the box. If they do, they are only supposed to go fewer than 3 feet from the batter's box. We see guys walk all the way to the grass to adjust their batting gloves and take more time. And if you're talking about timeliness of quick play games, how about Jason Vargas for the Royals last night? He needed just 97 pitches for a complete game. I think that's the kind of baseball that folks would like to watch, and that's a quick game.
Well, I agree. And those 2 rules you just spoke of are enforceable. They're in the rule book if anybody cared to do anything about it. You know, I think the longest games typically every year are between New York and Boston. The Yankees and Boston. Either Fenway or Yankee Stadium, either place, they approach 4 hours for a 9-inning game. But if you ask the fans in New York and Boston about it, they probably don't even notice. No. And they certainly don't care because of the rivalry.
Chris Johnson hits with 1 out. Quick meeting with Rick Honeycutt and Roberto Hernandez.
Well, guys, I know for a fact the players have noticed. In fact, earlier this season, Bryce Harper complained to one of the Braves about how long the Braves were taking to get to the plate. That guy turned back to Harper and said, "What are you talking about? You guys listen to every single note of your walk-up music before you decide to step in the batter's box."
Well, how about we do a game where if we're truly turning back the clock on Saturday with Oakland in town, why don't we get rid of all that stuff? Let's get rid of the walk-up music. Have Casey introduce the hitter and have the sounds of the game on the scoreboard. Let's not have the, and I'm not criticizing the Braves, I want to be clear about that because we see it in every ballpark, but how about we avoid the assault to the senses of the games and the contests and the kiss cams and all that stuff. It's great entertainment, but if we're turning back the clock, why don't we just do the game and see how much more quickly it could be played? Just an idea.
No, I mean,
somehow I don't see kiss cam being a deterrent to the time of game. It's between innings, all that other stuff, that entertainment factor between innings to keep everybody engaged. It has nothing to do with it, in my opinion.
My point is, and you're right, it is in between innings. But my point is the artificial clap, 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 clap. Man steps out of the box, waits for that to finish, gets back in, readjusts the gloves. Why?
Trying to get everybody to clap, I guess.
Swing and a miss. Chris is down on strikes. Well, I'll sound like my grandfather. They were able to clap for 100 years before they did that.
You know, I mean, the other thing you got to factor in too is it's, you know, it's a long season and there's a lot of games and there's a lot of games on TV every night all week long. And, you know, I mean, people can pick and choose when they want, because it's not, you know, if they don't watch tonight, they can watch tomorrow night. If I can't come to the ballpark tonight, well, I got 79 other home games I can go to. I mean, it's just, you know, there's so much of it that I don't know how you factor that into the equation, but
well, maybe this is a way that we can put a big, tight, neat bow on it. If the worst of our problems are that we're complaining about too much of a great thing, and that is the game of baseball, then maybe we're not in as bad a shape as all the doomsday naysayers think we are. And I don't pretend to have all the answers. I just want to see this game loved and appreciated 100 years from now, as it's been passed to us by people who are sadly no longer with us.
I mean, maybe I admit I don't follow the game like I did when I was playing, but did I miss something? Has attendance gone way down, or revenues way down, or I mean, is the game in trouble from a business standpoint? Then what are we worried? Then, you know, what's everybody complaining about? Sure, there are things you can tweak in every sport, you know, but tweaking it is one thing, and trying to pass it on as being in dire straits is another.
Two balls and a strike for Tommy La Stella. Braves trying to get something going here in the 6th inning. Justin Upton walked in between the fly out to center by Freddie Freeman and A great catch by Puig and Chris Johnson's strikeout. Yanked foul at first. And 2-2. Another good cut by Tommy. He's still alive. 2-2.
Hey, Chip, I got an answer to your Roberto Hernandez question about the jerseys. He is alternating between 2 jerseys today. The clubhouse staff is taking the wet one, throwing it in the dryer, giving it back to him whenever he needs it. So safe to say, unless they've gone through 38 dryer sheets, he's pretty rank out there.
And I hope they give it to him nice and hot out of the dryer on a warm, sunny day. Whatever he is, indeed. He's got his 5th strikeout to go with 4 walks, and this game heads to the 7th.
Dodgers, they continue to lead, and fans, as promised earlier in the game, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet your photo to #SouthFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T.
(5-1) Los Angeles after 6. Let's take a look at our DirecTV National League East standings. Washington plays in New York tonight, and they lead the division by 5. The Marlins are 2 games behind the Braves and 2 games under 500. Miami hosts Arizona tonight, and Puig bunts it toward third, and he'll leg out another Dodger infield hit.
There's a lot about this player to like. You just saw him make a great play in center, take an extra base hit away from Freddie Freeman. Uses his speed here. He's got a great arm, one of the best in the National League, and he's still learning.
3-hit game after going hitless the last 2 against the Braves. Here's Gonzalez, and he takes inside ball 1. Adrian, 2 hits, 2 RBIs. He's got 82 of those now. at 82 RBI mark. I believe ties him. It does. Ties him to Giancarlo Stanton of Miami for the National League lead. Two balls, no strikes. Oakland's here tomorrow night, 7:35 first pitch. As always, Friday night fireworks. Our first and only look at the Athletics this year. It's another terrific ball club. This homestand for the Braves features 3 first-place teams. The A's lead in the American League West. Braves Live's on the air at 7 o'clock. And we'll have the call for you at the bottom of the hour. In the air to left. And Upton's got it. Back to first is Puig. 1 out. Matt Kemp's 9-game hitting streak is on the line. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Dodgers will be ready to get back home. They've got a long homestand ahead. The Brewers, Padres, and Mets head to Los Angeles. Not try to get Puig at first. You picked him off twice in the series already. Did he go? Yes, he did. May have been called a strike.
Yeah, I think it was a good pitch.
Yeah.
Dodgers scored a run in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the fifth. The Braves run came in the fourth. Freeman walked to lead off the inning and came home on a Tommy La Stella ground out. Braves have had a few chances against Roberto Hernandez. He's walked 4 men, but has allowed just 3 hits. And Kemp didn't get it. Right in on his hands. Nice pitch from David Hale for the second out here in the 7th.
Good pitch, good spot. Kemp last night, it looked like on that 2-0 count was ready to gear up for and crush a Craig Kimbrell fastball, and he got the slider and couldn't stop.
Ethier drives that one to right. Jason's feeling for the fence, and a step away is able to haul it in.
Well, Ethier, he's had some tough luck today, hasn't he?
Nothing to show for that deep drive by Ethier. He's 0 for 4 as we hit the stretch.
Braves and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves.
Joe, Tom, and Chip with you from Atlanta, where the Dodgers have a 7th inning lead. 5-1 is your score. Had a little time to think about our AT&T Ubers trivia question, and if you forgot the question, here it is again. Name the last Dodgers right-handed pitcher with a 200 or better strikeout season.
I'm going to stick with Kevin Brown.
I really can't think of anybody, so I'm going to go with Nomo.
Oh, Hideo Nomo, that's a very good answer. They've got a guy hurt. Is it Billingsley who's hurt? I'm going to say it's Chad Billingsley. Let's see if we're right.
Way to go.
Look at you.
The guy's a good pitcher.
Yeah.
Chad Billingsley. 201 strikeouts in the 2008 season.
You're hot.
L.A. Let's hope Brandon League isn't.
We don't even need a change of shirt for you, though, do we?
No, I hope not.
Brandon League worked here a couple of nights ago. Just a third of an inning, issued a walk, recorded a strikeout, struck out Jason Hayward.
Well, if you did put my shirt in the dryer, you need a lot more dryer sheets than Mr. Hernandez got today. He's through 6 with the lead. And League versus Simmons starts the home 7th. And Hamilton is 0 for 2. 7, 8, 9 on the lineup card for Atlanta. They've mustered just 3 hits today. Liner into right is the 4th. So there's the start. Now Gerald Laird bats.
You know, we talked about this a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday. I'm not sure which day, about the come from behind victories, and not near as many this year as there were last year, and how it seems to be increasingly difficult for the Braves to mount big comebacks. But they've got some time today. Leadoff man on base here in the 7th. Let's see if they can pull it off.
Blown away, ball 1. Ramiro Pena will hit for David Hale.
Brandon League more and more reminds me a little bit of Dennis Eckersley.
He does a little bit, yeah.
And he wears number 43.
Some of that high cheese, as Ecker might call it. Two balls and a strike. And down and in. 3-1. It's a manageable game, but the Braves need a big inning here. They're off to a good start. Leadoff hit by Simmons to right. Laird way ahead in the count. Has run it full now.
It's not giving up a home run this year. Really hard stuff, sinking down, hard slider.
Bouncing ball to Uribe. He'll fire to second for one, and the turn is in time. A double play.
That was a nice turn by D. Gordon. He had Andrelton bearing down on him, and Uribe, knowing the catcher was running, took a chance to try to get them both.
That's a nice play by Uribe too, coming in on the ball and then having a throw to your left. Made a good throw, and like you said, D did a nice job staying in there, knowing he was going to get taken out.
19,347 in attendance on the Business Fan Special today. And they'll see Pena pinch hit for David Hale. David went 2 2/3 of scoreless baseball. And out of play, strike one. There's a nice catch.
Very nice.
Nice play.
One ball, one strike. Jason Hayward's on deck. It's late at Turner Field. Los Angeles 5, Atlanta 1.
This outing for David Hale, a good one after a bit of a rough patch for him to come in and work 2 2/3 innings of shutout ball. Get him back on track. That's great.
James Russell appears to be ready for the 8th. Two balls, two strikes. And a line drive by Pena into left center field. Puig will get there. And Ramiro has a 2-out hit. Saw that shot of James Russell down in the bullpen for the Braves. He's not the lone left-hander down there all of a sudden. The Braves sent Juan Jaime back to Gwinnett after the game last night. They brought Luis Avilan back. So hopefully Luis will be back on the beam after his stint at AAA. And it really, if that's the case, it'll help Fredi Gonzalez manage the late innings a little bit more easily in this respect. First the pitch to Hayward. Russell's a left-handed pitcher, but he's been better at retiring right-handers than left-handers, so that hasn't been the greatest of options for Fredi Gonzalez late in the game with only one lefty in his pen. Now he's got two. Jason didn't get that. 0-2 your count.
LAN AT ATL, 2 2/3 innings, 3 hits, 1 strikeout.
Missed inside, even count.
He got the double play ball that he needed, but he hasn't been real sharp. He's throwing some early strikes, first pitch strikes, and then can't finish guys off, at least not yet.
No, both these left-handers, he's gotten ahead 2 strikes, and it's like he's trying to finish him with that slider or cutter and just can't make the pitch to finish him.
Off the thumbs of Hayward. Long throw to first is in time. Rojas has a good arm. Leadoff hit goes to waste. Double play and a ground out sends our affair to the 8th, where the Dodgers enjoy a 5-1 lead.
Been looking for more left-handed help, and so they recalled lefty Luis Avilan from AAA Gwinnett. He was 3-1 with a 4.85 this season. His numbers are not impressive at the AAA level, but let's not focus on that. He said he's been throwing the ball well as of late.
My last few outings, I've been throwing the fastball really good. The location was good. The curveball was really good, and the last 2 strikeouts against the lefty were with the curveball. So I've been feeling really good with my pitches.
There's a reason his numbers weren't good at AAA Gwinnett. Marty Reed, the pitching coach, said just work on your secondary stuff. Don't worry about results. So in 11 2/3 innings, he struck out only 6, but he walked 11. Avilan said the key there was to work on his off-speed pitches. First his changeup, most noticeably his curveball, and that has affected his fastball as well, and maybe it'll affect how Freddie Gonzalez uses James Russell going forward.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Freddie said on this homestand he feels he needs to do a better job of utilizing James Russell. He'd like to bring him in clean innings a time or two, and here's an opportunity for that to take place.
Yeah, and whether it's just a 1-year blip on his baseball card, last year good against lefties, this year not good against lefties, better against right-handers for James. That presented a need to have another lefty down there that had a better shot at getting left-handed hitters out in tough spots.
Popped up behind the plate. No play for Gerald Laird. And that's why the injury to Johnny Venters hurt so much this year. I think the Braves were really hoping and praying that he'd be able to come back and be ready to go in the second half of the season. That's probably not going to happen. He is starting to throw in the bullpen, but nowhere near ready for big game action this time of the year. That's down the left field line, playable for Chris Johnson, who has to look up in the sun and makes the play. And Uribe pops out. And one of our old friends will be coming to town tomorrow night. Eric O'Flaherty is in the Oakland bullpen. So a chance to catch up with Eric beginning tomorrow night.
I've had people ask me several times, why didn't the Braves re-sign Eric O'Flaherty? And I thought it was pretty clear that He's coming off Tommy John surgery like Johnny Venters. He'd also had a history of some back problems and was no spring chicken anymore. So more than 1 year would have been a real stretch. The A's decided to give him 2 years, and that was the difference. I will say this for Eric. He worked hard trying to keep his back and everything in shape, doing a lot of stretching and stuff, not just before games but after too. Seemed like for hours. Happy for him that he's healthy.
Yeah, it's good to see him doing well, or healthy anyway, and pitching and resuming his career.
Hopefully the same will be said about Johnny Venters when he does come back.
Rojas off stride, fouled it back. It's a 2-2 count. The Dodger shortstop has had a nice series. He scored a run today. He's 1 for 2 with a walk. Seven for 21 at the plate on the road trip for Los Angeles. The trip that began with the Angels, then moved to Milwaukee and ends here in Atlanta. Line out of play foul. And a full count for Rojas. Oakland is playing today. They're in a daytime affair with Kansas City. That one no score in the third inning. James Shields for the Royals. Jeff Samardzija is pitching for Oakland. Braves will see Hamill, Gray, and John Lester in the 3-game weekend series. Don't forget Sunday's NESPN game. Rojas is struck out. 2 up, 2 down for Russell.
Like you got some nice backup on that 2-seamer.
Good pitch. Fastball in, buried it in there.
Yeah, 4-seamer.
Butera jumps all over the first and lines out to left. All the big names on the Dodger lineup card. It's Drew Butera who's done as much damage as anyone. 2 hits, 2 RBIs, including a big homer, part of a 5-run Dodger attack.
Los Angeles Dodgers is brought to you by the Home Depot.
5-1 is your score. The Braves come up in the 8th inning, trying to salvage a series split with the Dodgers. Tomorrow it's Zombie Night here at Turner Field. The Braves take on the A's. We join you for Braves Live at 7 Eastern on Fox Sports South. And Saturday, MLB on Fox Sports 1 returns at 3:30 Eastern. Derek Jeter and the Yankees take on Evan Longoria and the Rays. Then back on Fox Sports South, it's turn back the clock night for Game 2 of the Braves-A's series. We commemorate the 100th anniversary of the 1914 Miracle Braves World Series Championship. Our full coverage starts at 6:30 Eastern on Fox Sports South.
Bonifacio took the wrong helmet up there with him.
So Freddie Freeman loaned him his.
Trying to get some hits out of Freddie's.
Brian Wilson's the new Dodger pitcher. Just thought of something for that game Saturday night. I found out that we will have just the organ music during the game itself. I wonder if Freddie Gonzalez could be convinced to manage the game in a suit like Connie Mack did.
I'm saying no, but it's worth a shot.
Question would be, can you get Melvin to do that? Bob Melvin to do that easily with the A's.
Yeah.
More importantly, when I tune in for Friday night, tomorrow night for the pregame open or the game open, am I going to see you guys zombied up, or
how could you tell the difference?
No, but Smoltz will be between us, so that
well, come on,
all you need.
If we start now with Smoltzy, there's a chance you can convince him to get some makeup and look like a zombie.
I think I've already figured out how to do that.
I thought we needed makeup to make him not look like a zombie.
I didn't want to go there, but
no, I think if we tell him that you said there was no way that he would do it,
right,
and that you would,
no way we could make him do it.
Like where this is going, as Bonifacio faces off with the bearded one for the Dodgers, Brian Wilson.
Yeah, either that or you have to somehow convince him that it's a challenge that he can't live up to. He can't do it. Because if you tell him there's something he can't do, he's going to spend all day trying to prove you wrong.
We could tell him that you were a better looking zombie than he was, or ever could be, right? Line over third. Bonifacio goes the other way. That helmet did have a hit in it. And a leadoff hit for Bonifacio. He's the man aboard here for Atlanta in the 8th.
You know what Maddox would say? He'd say Smoltzy couldn't be a zombie because zombies have hair.
Yeah, right.
So, John, the challenge has been laid down. Here's Freddie. Outside ball 1. We got our zombie survival kits the other day, so we're well equipped to handle what will come tomorrow. Really looking forward to the pregame parade. There'll be some creative costumes. I'm sure the folks from The Walking Dead will be here. Filmed just down the road in Sonoya. So it should be a fun night. Hopefully the Braves can do some good work against the first place A's in an interleague matchup. 2-0 count for Freeman. And Wilson wide of the plate. 3-0. Wilson, another man coming back from Tommy John surgery. Started the season on the disabled list. His right elbow ulnar nerve was inflamed. He was activated in mid-April. And a drive toward left. Ethier on the run. Can't get it. That's going to bounce high off the fence. And the Braves will have runners at second and third with nobody out in the 8th inning.
He's hitting the ball so well. Got robbed of an extra base hit in the 6th inning on the great catch by Puig. Ethier almost tracked this one down. Like a little cutter. The outside third.
Well, 2 good at bats to start the inning.
Nice rotation by the umpires too.
Yeah, the Braves can at least, worst case scenario, cash these 2 in and cut the deficit in half. Give themselves a better chance in the 9th inning.
Upton's walked twice, struck out once. And a ground ball gets by Uribe. 1 run scores. Here comes Freddie around third. He's going to score. Upton in at second safely. And just like that, the Braves are right back in this game. It's a double and 2 RBIs for Upton.
Juan Uribe's caught everything hit his way in these 2 series with the Dodgers. Breaking ball, a little bit off the end of the bat, but hit sharply. And he just didn't get the glove done. Looked like it tipped right off the webbing of his glove. 72 ribbies for Justin.
Now the tying runs in the batter's box. Still nobody out. And a strike for Chris Johnson.
Braves' first hit with a runner in scoring position.
Chris didn't like that call and lets Lance Barksdale know it.
Boy, did he have a complaint on our PNC Bank pitch track, still barking at him, so to speak. Lance Barksdale.
That would be the one where it's not where you caught it, it's where it crosses the plate, and it never crossed the plate.
Into the seats. Stella's on deck. In the air toward right. That ball is caught by Kemp. Tagging at second and moving to third is Justin Upton. Chris Johnson advances Upton with a fly out to right.
Good out. Good comeback after the bad call put him in a hole. When you're down 2 this late, you want to see if you can drive him in, get on yourself, but at the very least get him over to third base, get that 4th run in, and make it a real difference, a real challenge for the Dodgers with 4 outs to go.
J.P. Howell has begun to loosen in Los Angeles. And outside to La Stella.
lot of pitches to that side of the plate, even to the right-handed hitter. Tried that backdoor pitch, cutter or short slider, whatever it is, that Freddie hit for a double. Same thing here to LaStella.
Told you how good a hitter Tommy has been with 2 strikes this year. He entered play today at 288 in a 2-strike count. That's what he's got here in the Atlanta 8th.
Well, he got behind.
Justin's over there at third base, been stretching and messing with his knee ever since he's been over there.
He fouled a ball off his body earlier today. I don't know if that has anything to do with the discomfort Upton's feeling, and it's enough discomfort that he's going to have to come out of the game. I don't think he's grabbing his knee. He looks like he's grabbing his glute or his upper hamstring. And Upton's limping towards the Braves dugout.
Well, he was kind of halfway on the fly ball to right by Johnson, and he had to really hurry to second and change directions to advance to third. I don't know if he might have done it there or not, but obviously favoring it.
One and 2 to LaStella, and way high.
It's fair to say this is kind of what spot LaStella was in the 4th inning, with 2 on and the infield back and behind in the count. He was able to ground one to first to get the runner in.
Tommy couldn't stop his swing. And Joe, you're right. Wilson just kept the ball away from LaStella, and he earns his first strikeout of the inning.
If you get that call, I mean, if you're the hitter and it was a borderline pitch, called strike, borderline pitch, called strike, all of a sudden he throws it out there again for his out pitch, you gotta try and put it in play. And it might not have been a pitch he'd normally swing at, but he had to there.
So 2 runs on 3 hits, but now 2 outs. And Don Mattingly is not going to allow Wilson to continue here, it appears. 21 pitches for Brian Wilson. And the Dodgers skipper checks out the lineup card with Lance Barksdale. He'll notify him of the other moves. The pitcher spot is due first when LA comes up for the 9th inning. It's a very tight game all of a sudden. It's a 5-3 Los Angeles lead. So Dodger manager Don Mattingly is on his way to get the ball from Brian Wilson. The Braves still have the tying runner at the plate in a 5-3 score.
Toyota, and AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Braves down 2, tying run coming to the plate potentially in the form of Andrelton Simmons. Before we tell you who the new Dodger pitcher is, let's check out today's SunTrust shining moment.
And that has to do with Justin Upton's homestand. 7 games, good work, 2 homers and a couple of doubles, and 8 RBIs, including 2 right here just a minute ago into the glove of Juan Uribe. But he's had to come out of the game after it appeared that he strained a hamstring. Perhaps that's speculation on my part, but certainly favoring his leg as he walked off.
Double switch for the Dodgers. Carl Crawford takes over for Andre Ethier in left field. He'll bat on the number 9 line on the lineup card. And their closer Kenley Jansen's going to come on and try to face down his pal from Curacao, Andrelton Simmons.
Jansen pitched an inning plus in a game out in Los Angeles. He got out of the 8th inning just fine and then ran into some trouble in the 9th. We'll see how he fares today.
So B.J. Upton at third, 2 outs. And in the dirt. Jansen's been tough. He's allowed 1 run over his last 19 appearances. He's faced 66 batters, and he's got 28 strikeouts in that stretch.
Had a 3 up and 3 down inning with 2 strikeouts 2 nights ago.
But 2 straight in the dirt. Don Mattingly wants this Braves rally to stop right here. 2 runs across against Brian Wilson. Freddie Gonzalez hoping Simmons can provide a 2-out hit.
Sure would be nice to get at least 1 more in here going to that 9th inning. Maybe only needing 1 run, worst case scenario.
Hot shot, base hit. Simmons came through. It's a 1-run game. Andrelton was clapping his hands as that ball shot past Uribe. A 3-run Atlanta 8th makes it a 5-4 game.
He should be clapping his hands. Got the count in his favor and turned on that pitch in. No chance for Uribe this time. Opened up that left foot a little bit so that he could spin on the heel. Take a little pressure off his bad ankle. Great at bat, clutch at bat.
And a 3 RBI series for Andrelton Simmons. Welcome back indeed. 2 more hits. And now Evan Gattis will come on and pinch hit in the 8th inning. He represents the go-ahead run. Gattis 1 for 5 against Kenley Jansen. That 1 hit, a homer. Downstairs, ball 1. Andrew Butera out to visit. He fell behind Simmons. 2-0 for Andrelton. Pulled the Braves to within 1 run. All 3 in this inning belong to Mr. Wilson.
Boy, what a huge pick-me-up this would be for this ball club to come from behind, down 5-1 late to the Dodgers, and figure out a way to rally to win. They put themselves in a good position to be able to either tie it or get the lead right here. Outfielders for the Dodgers all extremely deep.
Gaddis.
Well, you sent him up there with the thought in mind that he could put you on top with one swing, so why not let him hack away 3-0?
Yeah, if he gets his pitch, let it rip.
Three balls, no strikes. He didn't have the green light. So Simmons will be off to the races with a full count now for Gaddis. If Evan can keep the inning alive, Ryan Domit waits on deck.
See if they go up at the risk of walking and go up the ladder.
Runner goes. Gaddis pops it up. Over near that killer tarp goes Adrian Gonzalez. And this time he reached the railing in front of the camera well, and it's well out of play. Ideally for Jansen, he wants to end the inning now. If he doesn't, you've got Domit next. But if he doesn't, you've got the tying run in scoring position. Simmons ready to go from first. He takes off, and Gaddis hammers one well foul. Wow. Into the top row of the club level. You go in there at your own peril.
No question. Going in, you better miss in. Because you got a chance he might do that. Well, after that, see if he's got the courage to throw him a breaking ball.
Yeah.
Braves are giving their fans a finish. We're still in the eighth. Another 3-2 pitch. He did throw something off speed. Well, maybe not. 95. That had a cut to it, though. And Gaddis strikes out. And that ends the Braves rally. Atlanta scores 3 times, though. We've got a 1-run game. LA 5, Atlanta 4.
night. Well, apparently there's somebody out there trying to defame you.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not sure how this is going to work.
Oh, yeah.
But that's nice.
That's
got
nice.
Your number
yeah.
on the Titleist. But what they've done,
my buddy Jack,
they put your name and all your losses on these golf balls. That's
why it's important to have friends that keep you humble.
Wow. Emblazoned on a golf ball, all your losses.
How many did he give you?
They keep coming.
They do.
Initially it was like 6 dozen, but they keep coming.
And of the 6 dozen, I'll bet you haven't lost a one.
No, I've lost a few. But I have thought more than once about where I'm playing. All right, if I lose one of these, do I want to lose it here?
Very, very nice from Jack Kennedy.
You saw B.J. Upton stay in the game to play center. Bonifacio moves to left. Gaddis stays in the game to catch. And welcome back Luis Avilan. He's on to pitch the 9th inning. And he'll face Carl Crawford, the Dodger left fielder.
Season numbers, he'd run into some real control issues before he was sent down. ERA had skyrocketed. (0-1) with a 5.40 ERA at Gwinnett. And a quick test for him right away.
Yeah, right back in the fire.
We talked earlier in the series about how the Dodgers have the luxury of resting their everyday players one at a time over the course of each series they play. I think we were all a little surprised to see Carl Crawford, their hottest hitter, not get the start today.
I doubt that Aaron Harang was bothered by that.
Instead, it was Andre Ethier that got the start in left. And now Crawford, Gordon, and Puig. 3 really fast guys start things off in the LA night. 5-4 game. And that just missed.
Already a noticeable difference for Luis Avilan. When he comes set, he's a little more tilted at the waist. Used to him being real straight up.
Back to the mound, and Avilan with a leaping grab gets Crawford for the first out. Speaking of tests, here's another. Gordon, 3 runs, 2 stolen bases, 2 hits, and a walk.
And with a close game again, a threat to bunt.
And he does bunt. And it's a pretty one. Avilan races, tries the glove flip, and actually slid over the top of the baseball. And it's another bunt single for D. Gordon, who's aboard with 1 out.
You cannot bunt a ball any better than that to that side of the field. That was perfectly placed to where Freddie couldn't come get it, and he was going to beat Avilan there even if he did get it.
Hope Luis didn't land on that baseball, and that can really bruise your. Oh, he landed on his back. That'll hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing he could do. The only, I don't know what they could have done differently other than Freddie to come get it and try to stab a tag on him as he picked it up.
So here's Puig, 1 on, 1 out.
Gordon and Puig now tied for their team lead in runs scored. Each has 66.
The Dodgers, I'm sorry, Joe.
Braves leaders Freeman was 73.
Dodgers have 11 hits in the game. Gordon, Puig, and Gonzalez have 8 of them. Puig hits himself as much as he hits the ball.
Yeah, that's different. It's almost like he's saying, wake up in there. I didn't like that last swing.
I see him doing it the first at bat, but by now I figure everything's pretty much awake. Now, whatever he's doing, it's working for him.
1 ball, 2 strikes. This is what he was doing a pitch or two ago.
I haven't seen anybody do that since Tom Glavine used to do that a lot. But
yeah.
But
offensively, a lot of similarities.
Yeah, but never to the left arm.
Right.
Well, something else got hit, but not with the bat. Avilan nails Puig with a pitched ball right on the foot, and he'll hobble and make his way to first.
That sounded like it hurt.
Yes.
Outside ankle or outside shin.
Kind of the back of the calf near the Achilles. That made me wince.
Oh, here's that guy again with runners in scoring position.
One ball, no strikes. In the air, right center field. BJ's not going to get it. That'll roll all the way to the fence. Here comes Gordon. Puig in a relay race is going to try. Here comes the relay to the plate. It's on line, and Puig doesn't bother to slide, and he's tagged out.
This might be that play again.
Don Mattingly is going to come out and argue that Gaddis had the plate blocked without possession of the baseball. Lance Barksdale with the initial call at the plate. Atlanta cuts off 1 Dodger run for the moment, but it's a extra base hit to make it a 6-4 game.
He's out in front of the plate, and now with the baseball he can go wherever he wants. He had plenty of room.
Now see, this is the frustrating part about this play. I think if it's a bang bang play at the plate, you can see making the case for it. But Joe, you're right. He was 10-12 feet away from the plate when Gaddis got the baseball. And so now this is going to go to video review in New York.
Great relay by Andrelton Simmons on the throw.
Guys, what I've seen is smart managers are now reacting to the replay instead of the play itself. And when Mattingly was still in the dugout, as soon as Gaddis applied the tag, he looked out to either Kerwin Danley or Gary Cederstrom and motioned to them something about the base path, wondering if they had a look whether or not Gaddis was in the base path. And That's what motivated him to come out and challenge the call.
Also the fact that D. Gordon was motioning for him to do that after being at home plate to watch the play.
You're right. It was a beautiful relay.
Good throw from BJ and right on target from Andrelton.
I mean, the question isn't whether or not the tag was applied. The question for the Dodgers is, was the play blocked? And again, I ask the question, is baseball trying to solve a problem that really isn't as prevalent as they think it is?
I would it's hard to argue your point. I mean, you know, if that's considered blocking the plate, I mean, what I don't know what else the catcher's supposed to do.
And the call is upheld. The out will stand. It's an 8-6-2 retirement of Yasiel Puig with the second out of the inning.
And it was a curveball. What Luis was talking about, how he's working on his secondary pitches, and it was a curveball that stayed up, almost like Gonzalez was looking for it and ripped it. Third RBI of the day for him.
Collision rule 7-1-3, and it was a crew chief initiated review here in the top of the ninth inning. But LA has rebuilt a 2-run lead now, a 6-4 score. Kemp will be walked intentionally. And the pitcher, Kenley Jansen, is on deck, and no way the Dodgers going to take him down. So take the bat out of Kemp's hand and get after Jansen.
It just hurts, you know. You fight, you scratch, and you claw to get back in the ball game, and you need 3 outs to bring your lineup back up there again.
So Avilan will be taken down after 2/3 of an inning. A couple of hits, a run, a hit batsman, and an intentional walk.
The Home Depot, and Zaxby's Indescribably Good.
6-4 Los Angeles. Dodgers continue to hit here in the top of our ninth inning. College football's odd couple is back. James Bates and Tommy Bowden bring you a fresh season of the new college football show. It premieres Tuesday, August 26th at 5:30 Eastern with an encore presentation at 11, all on Fox Sports South. It's serious football know-how, the new college football show presented by Zaxby's. Anthony Vivaro is on for Atlanta. And he will face Kenley Jansen, a right-handed pitcher who bats left-handed. Yeah, pretty good swing.
Yeah, he did.
Well, he wants Andrelton to know that he can still swing it. First at bat of the year.
For his big league career, Kenley Jansen has a lifetime on base percentage of .667. He's 1 for 2 with a walk. That hit came in 2010.
And by the way, he's a switch hitter. He's got a good swing.
Well, think about this. I mean, when Andrelton Simmons was pitching, this was the guy that caught Andrelton Simmons. So if he's as talented a catcher as he is a pitcher, a switch hitting catcher, he might have made his way to the big leagues that way too.
Well, to avoid more damage, maybe Freddie Gonzalez was thinking, I'll make sure that we put him away with a right-handed pitcher, not knowing he could switch hit.
Swing and a miss. High fastball gets Kenley Jansen. Atlanta's going to get him on the mound for the 9th inning. 9-1-2 coming up. Now a 2-run Los Angeles score. Town zombie night tomorrow night. Then Saturday night we turn back the clock to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the 1914 World Series champion Braves. They were the Miracle Braves, last place on the 4th of July, won the pennant by 10.5 games, and then swept the World Series. Throwback uniforms. The scoreboard will resemble the early 1900s. Organ music and cheap eats. $1 hot dogs, 25-cent peanuts, popcorn, and Cracker Jacks while supplies last. Chan can't wait for Saturday night. And there are some of the historical notes from that 1914 World Series. A Hall of Fame filled fall classic.
Frank Home Run Baker.
Hey, he's had all kinds of guys.
And then they broke up their team because the Federal League came about. It was the third professional major league, and Connie Mack refused to pay his players. So he let them all walk to the Federal League, and then the A's got real bad.
Just goes to show you can't keep the good players unless you give them the money. Even in 1915, the year after.
If all your good players leave, it's hard to be good.
So Kenley Jansen will face Ryan Domit, then Hayward, then Bonifacio, then we hope Freddie Freeman. It's a manageable game. The Braves need base runners, and a lot of them against Kenley Jansen, who put out the fire in the 8th. He gave up an RBI hit to Andrelton Simmons that made it a 1-run game, then struck out Gaddis swinging. LA got a bunt hit from D. Gordon, and he came home on the Gonzalez double to right center. Butera took a shot. Strike one. Too much for the Braves to handle is that man. A 4-run game for D. Gordon. Doma didn't like it. 0-2. When you think about power closers, the two men that have worked in this series are 1 and 2 when it comes to swing and miss stuff. I'll explain after the 0-2 pitch for Ryan Doumit. Entering this season, Kenley Jansen was second to Craig Kimbrell. He averages 14 strikeouts per 9 innings pitched. Craig Kimbrell an astounding 15 strikeouts per 9 with a minimum of 200 innings pitched. Those are your top two in that category. And Jansen already with 1 strikeout today. Two and two.
Throws hard, doesn't maximize his fastball every time. He's been right around 92 most of the time until he needed that strikeout of Evan Gattis and bumped it up to 95.
Bouncing ball foul at first. Here comes the 2-2. And Doma didn't get a breaking ball. That was nasty. Second strikeout for Jansen. First out in the Atlanta ninth.
Yeah, when you throw 94, 95, and guys got to cheat to get to your fastball a little bit, you'll get swings like that on breaking balls. That was a commit to the fastball and got something else.
Jason Hayward on base twice in the leadoff spot today. Single and a walk. Gordon dives from a knee, can't make the throw. Infield hit for Hayward, his second of the day. So there's the start.
That's all you can ask for. Get a guy on and bring the tying run to the plate. Great look at it there from behind home plate. And D. Gordon couldn't get it in his throwing hand cleanly.
He's done everything else today. Glad he wasn't able to make that play.
Let's see what's in the mind of Emilio Bonifacio. He's got a hit and a run scored. Freeman, then B.J. Upton next.
See if Emilio makes him throw him a strike.
We have the word on Justin Upton and why he left the ball game. We'll give that to you after a 1-1 pitch to Bonifacio. A swing and a miss. Left hamstring strain for Justin Upton.
Day to day. Don't know if he did it on the double or if he did it trying to hustle back and tag up when Kemp ran that fly ball down in right field off Chris Johnson's bat. Change of direction may have gotten him.
That missed by a whisker. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yep, that was close. But well off the plate.
And Emilio is down swinging. 3 strikeouts, 2 hits allowed, but still another tall order. He's got to get Freeman. And Freddie's had a good day at the plate. His 39th multi-hit game. That includes a single and a double. He's walked and scored 2 of the Braves' 4 runs. Freddie's really going good. He's not afraid to ambush a first pitch. And he chased Puig to the center field fence earlier. That was back in the 6th inning. So let's see what the man on the hill and the man in the box come up with in this 9th inning sequence. Braves are down 2 out.
Obviously, he doesn't want to give him anything that pitches to his power that he might be able to pull and turn on. But as we've already seen in this series, Freddie can hit the ball the other way and hit it deep. Crawford had to flag one down right up against the fence last night.
Swing, drive, deep right field. That ball is going to be off the base of the fence. Here comes Hayward to third. He will stop. Freeman did ambush a 1-0 pitch and bounced it off the bottom of the wall, and then it ricocheted underneath the yellow line and dropped straight down for Kemp. A 3-hit game for Freeman.
If he had as much backspin as he had topspin on this ball, it goes out. But it was like a topspin in tennis. That ball was hooking down.
Yeah, I would have been surprised if they gave him anything on the inner portion of the plate to hit and turn on, like you said. So you got to figure they're going to try and work him away and down, and tried to backdoor that breaking ball and threw it pretty much down the middle, belt high. So he's lucky a double is all he gave up.
Man, we've had some fun in the 9th inning the last couple days here in Atlanta. Belt tie strike for BJ. Now it's his turn to disagree.
It's weird how it happens over and over again in baseball, where you don't start the game, you come in late, and then all of a sudden it's all on the line, and you're the guy and you get one at bat to do something about it. Good cut. What do you do here, Mr. Glavine, knowing that BJ's a good fastball hitter down and in? Do you elevate? Do you go breaking ball?
Well, I wouldn't even mess with down and in. I'm taking a chance on a fastball, maybe up, or that breaking ball that finishes off the plate to the outside. Like we talked about, if you got him thinking fastball, you got to cheat a little bit to get to it. Makes you susceptible to that breaker in the dirt.
One ball, two strikes. Braves got 3 on Brian Wilson. They're trying to tag a couple on Kenley Jansen.
I think the way he took that fastball leads me to believe he's looking for that breaking ball.
Swing and a miss. And the Dodgers hold off the Braves. Kenley Jansen saves it for Roberto Hernandez. Aaron Harang suffers his 7th loss of the season. And the Braves say goodbye and good riddance to the Dodgers, who beat Atlanta for the 6th time in 7 meetings in 2014. 6-4 your final. Back to talk about it from Turner Field after this.